Good evening, members, and welcome to this meeting of the Cobtree Manor Estate Charity Committee. I'm Councillor Wales. Oh, he's not even in this one, is he? I'm Councillor Wales and I'm Chairman of the committee. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded for playback on the Council's YouTube channel. Will anyone else be recording these proceedings? I ask so that people at the meeting will know that this will be happening. Anyone likely to be doing that? No. If the fire alarm does sound during the meeting, please remain seated, and members of the Democratic Services team will assess the situation and give further instructions on the evacuation of the building if necessary. So, item 1 of the agenda. Are there any apologies for absence? I have Councillor Mike Summersgill and Councillor English. Are you joining in the meeting? Are you going to sit down? Why not? Oh, well, who's? Oh, it's the other meeting. Sorry, you've got me all confused with it. Sorry, it doesn't matter. So, of course, it's just the four of us. It was Mike. Yes, it was Mike Summersgill. Okay, thank you. Oh, right. Urgent items. There is one urgent item update this evening. Item 13, Cobtree Manor Estate Annual Accounts 24-25. Is this agreed to take that? Is this agreed? Yes, agreed. Thank you. Are there any visiting members? Is that English again? Are there any disclosures by members and officers? No. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of lobbying? Item 5. No. No, looking at the officers, they're all just busy with their laptops. Thank you. Item 6. I move that all items be taken in public as proposed. Is that agreed? Thank you. Item 7. Minutes of the meeting held on 22nd of October 2025. Are there any comments? I haven't even moved them yet. I move that the minutes of the meeting held on 22nd of October 2025 be approved as a correct record and signed. Is that agreed? Thank you, gentlemen. Item 8, presentation of petitions. There are none this evening. Item 9, question and answer session for local residents. There are no questions. Item 10, questions from members to the chair. There are no questions. Right, okay, so item 11, Cobtree Estate update to be introduced by Mike Evans. Over to you, Mike.
Thank you, Chair. So starting at the park, park visits are up for the quarter and for the rolling 12-month period, which is really good to see after a little period of decreasing visitor numbers. The play area tender evaluation has been completed. It's too early to say publicly what the outcome is because bidders have not been notified yet, but I can update members on the outcome of that in due course. But what we can say at this stage is that it had a really good response to the tender, some fantastic bids and proposals from people, and the new player is going to deliver great outcomes for residents and visitors using the park. The report also includes information on some utilities pipes that we've discovered that run under the verges at the front of the park entrance. So this will hamper the delivery of the ponds at the front verge of the park as part of the biodiversity net gain improvements. So it's not going to rule out ponds completely, but we'll just need to be careful, maybe create some shallower gullies and scrapes in that area. We're a bit behind where we'd like to be with those BNG works because of some operational challenges in the team, but I'm working on getting some additional resource into the team so we can move forward with them over the winter. At the golf course, again, numbers are up there as well. It's delivering record numbers, higher than we've seen previously, even higher than the COVID period, which is really good to see. And pleasingly, we're in turnover share territory for the calendar year 2025. So it's haven't got a final figure yet, but we can bring that in due course in the next set of accounts. Drainage works have improved across the golf course. That's improved the playability and the availability of the course in the winter. And some trial water harvesting is underway in one of the ponds, which will reduce the reliance on mains water this summer. Kent Life is slightly down on their rolling 12-month period, as you'll see in the table. It's caused largely by the Q3 numbers, and Christmas visits were down on last year, which has impacted the overall total. This is attributable to competitors in the marketplace having better offers this year than previously. So Kent Life's aware of that and is going to address that in their 2026 offer for Christmas. Works at the cottages have been complete. That was a rather large one-off expense that committee is aware of, but it's improved the living conditions of the tenant there and it's protected the historic asset that we're looking after. That's it. And happy to take any questions from members as always.
Thank you very much, Mike. Any questions from members? Yes, Councillor Jeffrey.
So thank you for the report. Very good to see numbers up. Two questions. How's the solar robot going? And secondly, just a comment really on the defib cardiac incidents and so forth. They are obviously worth their weight in gold, those things. Hopefully, hopefully that there is some consideration about whether or not we have them in other places as well, because they do save lives. But yes, how's the solar robot going?
So I didn't quite catch the question, Councillor Jeffrey.
The mowing thing that started on 9th of December with the solar-powered robot mower.
Yes, it's going very well. So it's good in all aspects really. So the mower will park itself and charge up, and then it will take itself off. The golf course is mapped on GPS, so it knows where to cut and where not to cut. I'm aware of some other golf courses in the borough that have them as well, so they're delivering on that sustainability agenda in other places. And it's also safer for operatives. It means they can do jobs where their skills are more deployed rather than just driving up and down, cutting grass all day. So it's win-win.
Thank you.
Given the issues that we've had with water supply elsewhere in the borough over the last little while, what sort of measures are they taking to reduce their reliance on mains water? Because I'd be reluctant to be watering a golf course when houses are without water for washing and cooking and living in.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is something that the industry as a whole is aware of. As water becomes more of a talked about subject than it used to be in previous decades. So the harvesting project is about creating areas where water can be stored when it rains in the winter and then used in the summer months when needed. A lot of water runs through the site from the bottom of Bluebell Hill into the river, and if we can retain some of that, it just helps in the drier periods. There's other things that the golf course are doing as well. So the way they look after the turf and the air and the light they get moving around the golf course by lifting trees and things helps with the quality of turf, so there's less reliance on water in the first place. So that's they've got an ecologist in the business who works across all their estate of golf courses and it helps the greenkeepers implement these measures.
Yeah, there is an issue though, isn't there? But harvesting water on its way down to refill the water table means it doesn't get there for everybody else to use if they divert it before it gets there. But hopefully they will be able to cover that, as you say, with other ecological measures. Any other questions on the report? Yes, Councillor Harwood.
Yeah, just on that point, I mean, farms that are on hills have reservoirs to catch water to use later on. We seem to be having problems in getting a pond in the site, and I keep going back to the fact that we've got more biodiversity on the lorry workshop next door than we got on parts of the park. So I think we really do need to get cracking with some of these things. And I think if we did dig some decent reservoirs where they will retain water, you're getting a win-win. You're getting a win for landscape and biodiversity as well as less expensive and more sustainable water source. So you know, there are parts of the site where there is pockets of clay as well, as we know to our cost from some of the drainage issues. So I think there's opportunity there. So I think you know, talking to the provider, I think potentially there are some solutions, but I suggest for this year it might be a bit late, but there is opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else on that, gentlemen? No, the reports for noting, is that noted? Thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Item 12, the Cobtree Manor Estate financial position. This is pages 9 to 18 in your pack, introduced by Paul Holland.
Thank you, Chair. So there's two parts to my report this evening. There's the financial position of the estate at the end of December 2025, and also the budgets for the next financial year. So starting with the current financial position, the table at 2.2 shows there's a small underspend of just under £5,000 at the end of December. So at this stage, it's anticipated that the year-end position should be broadly in line with the full cost surplus. Just a couple of points to note, really. The budget for the year remains a full cost surplus of 63,000, but there have been some transfers made between the operational areas to reflect actual income and expenditure to date this year. That's between the budgets. There've been some one-off costs that needed to be funded, so there was 10,700 for the biodiversity and net gain assessments in the Manor Park. £4,000 for consultancy works in respect to the golf course dilapidations claim. There was 12,000 for various works undertaken in the park. And also we had to write off a duplicate invoice that had been raised in a previous year. That was £11,000. But there are a number of projected underspends across the various operational budgets, and this has allowed these costs to be funded within the approved budget for the year. Before I move on to the budgets for next year, are there any questions on that section of the report?
Any questions, gentlemen?
All looks good.
No? Well, on a positive position forecast at the year end is something that is...
We're forecasting a surplus of £63,000 come the end of the financial year, so I think we're broadly on track to achieve that. So.
Okay. And then the second half is the budget for next year. If there's no questions on that, we'll go on to the budget.
Do you want me just to give a quick overview?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
yes.
Sure. So the proposed budgets are at Appendix 2. I think just the main points to highlight are forecast surplus of 77,000 compared to 63 for this year. We've reduced the budgets for investment income from Cobtree Charity Trust and for sort of the charity fund investment. Simply that's partly just to reflect the forecast reduction in interest rates. But that's been partially offset by a new budget for income from the beekeeper, who's now resident in the park. And just Appendix 3 is a summary of the recharges that the council makes for various services that's provided in support of the operation of the estate. They've gone down actually this year, so with the main contracts in place operating normally, the Parks and Leisure team have been able to reduce their charges. They don't need to spend as much time dealing with estate matters. And legal services now charged kind of directly for any work they undertake, so there doesn't need to be a charging for those. So yeah, that's the budgets, proposed budgets for next year, which are for you to approve. But I'm happy to take any questions before you make that decision.
Yes, Councillor Jeffrey.
Yeah, just one brief question. You're increasing running costs by 2%, and say that's inflation. I think CPI is 3.4, I think. Do you feel that 2% is a reasonable reflection given what's going on?
I think we generally underspend on some of these budgets anyway, so I think probably in the round it'll probably work out about the same, I would think. So, yeah.
Yeah, as well as CPI is also staff salary increases to be taken account of, yes, and moving on to the living wage rather than, yeah, okay, good. The other thing is the Kent Life income is budgeted to increase, even though it was short of its budget this year. Are we confident that we're going to make up on A, on what we were on last year, and B, because it budgeted 79 last year, up budget of 86 to income this year, this coming year? As it didn't meet its budget last year, is it?
I thought it should be on budget this year, because we just invoiced them 2 equal amounts each year. So,
right.
Where are you looking at for that? So
Well, I mean, in the first report, we heard Kent Life was.
We've only invoiced for one half of the year so far, so there will be a second invoice.
Right.
So they will be by the end of the year. They will get. Yeah, it'll be the budgeted amount. So, yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for clarification. Any further questions, gentlemen? No. Okay. So the report is for noting, and the budget is for agreeing. Is that okay? Noted and agreed. Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to item 13, the Cobtree Manor Estate Annual Accounts, and that's over to Paul again.
Thank you, Chair. So this report seeks the approval of the accounts for 24-25. The external audit is now substantially complete and the auditors do intend to issue an unmodified audit opinion. So the report just summarises the main points of interest from the accounts, which are shown at Appendix 1, and these are as follows. So the balance sheet reflects a healthy position overall with assets of 4.6 million and the statement of financial activities, which is effectively the profit and loss account, showing a net fund increase of 400,000 for the year. And that's due in part to larger than normal revaluation increases. We used a new valuer for last year and they took a slightly different approach, hence the increases. That was consistent with the approach they took with the revaluations of some of the council's assets, where we also saw some larger increases. The statement of financial activity surplus of 74,000 reflects the fact that all the main contracts are in place and operating normally now. And we also saw an increase of 34,000 in the valuation of the Charity Fund investment. The accounts also include a cash flow statement and notes for the first time this year as income is now greater than £500,000, which is the threshold for introducing those. A couple of other minor points. The contract income from the golf course and the cafe is now classified as rental income, which reflects the nature of the new contracts. And the accounts also include a bad debt provision of 31,000 for monies owed by the previous cafe operator. Attempts to recover this sum are ongoing, but it's considered prudent to include this given the length of time that this has been going on. And should it be necessary to use some or all of this provision, then we will obviously report that to the committee in due course. There was a number of adjustments that were made to the accounts during the audit, and these are summarised in both the audit findings report and the letter of representation. And the other appendices are, so Appendix 2, we've got the letter of representation, which asks trustees to confirm a number of statements relating to the audit and the information that was supplied to the auditors during the course of the audit. Appendix 3 is the audit findings report. The purpose of this is to bring to the attention of the committee various matters that have arisen from the audit. And it also covers audit risks, the adjustments that were made to the accounts, updates on previous and new recommendations and developments in the charity accounting sector. And finally, Appendix 4 is the audit service plan, which outlines the approach taken to the audit, including responsibilities of trustees and auditors, along with a summary of any developments that might have an impact on the audit and the estate. That concludes my report. Happy to take any questions you may have.
Just a couple of questions. In their follow-up of previous year's recommendations, they're still banging on about the gift aid and say it's a high priority that we take action to have it arranged for a professional review, but I thought we had.
I think it does actually say on that page that it's been resolved. It's in fairly small type, but
yeah,
I think if you look in the audit findings report,
it's still on page 73 of the pack. It still says it's a high urgent potential impact on accuracy and financial reporting. That's in there on the section of audit adjustments and recommendations and processes. I'm a bit concerned that they're still mentioning that even though we've resolved it.
Yes, so if you look at the very bottom of the page, it says current year recommendation and priority. It just says resolved in the left-hand column, right at the very bottom, and it just talks in that paragraph that, we've provided them with the evidence that that we were accounting for it correctly in HR.
Oh, sorry, so that's the prior year. As the
yeah, sorry, it's a slightly confusing layout, but
okay.
yes, they're happy with. Obviously, we spoke to HMRC and they confirmed they're happy with the arrangement.
Okay.
And so yeah, they're happy as well. So it's just in there for completeness. They're required to just go back over previous year recommendations as part of the audit findings report. So
that's fine. Okay, I'm happy with that then. And on the audit adjustments, there's a couple of quite big numbers of things that needed adjusting, like revaluation movement on investment properties.
That was a coding error, yeah. The investment properties and the investments got mixed up in the coding, so I just needed to adjust for those.
Right. So you just moved it out of one.
Yeah. It's just swapping the numbers around, putting them in the right accounts. So.
Clearly, it's had no material effect on the accounts, so that's good. Okay. Any further questions, gentlemen? No. So the report makes 4 recommendations to the committee. the report and financial statement for 24-25 be approved and submitted to the Charity Commission. Is that agreed? The letter of representation be approved. Agreed, then I can sign it. The contents of the audit findings report be noted. And the contents of the audit service plan 24-25 be noted. Thank you very much. Okay, that's item 13. And that means we've reached the end of the meeting. I declare this meeting closed. Thank you all very much, gentlemen.